Good morning, Alabama football fans. What's going on? It's Kyle Henderson, a Bama Insider. We are Bama Insider. Definitely hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. The news is official. Bill O'Brien has been named the offensive coordinator with the New England Patriots. Sources tell Chris Lowe of ESPN. O'Brien was the Patriots' assistant coach from 2007, 2011, now returns back to coach a former Alabama quarterback, Mac Jones. Briefly um, worked at Alabama, and I think it's going to be interesting to see, and you can call into the show at the bottom of the screen, 205-850-1994, who Alabama goes to next. So I want to get your reaction about Bill O'Brien leaving, and finally, the news is official. We've talked about this before with Alabama losing Pete Golding to Ole Miss. And maybe they're not losing because we talked about that from the defensive coordinator perspective, is that they are going to upgrade on the defense. And now Alabama has a chance to upgrade on the offense. So we want to talk to you today on the show, 205-850-1994. Who would you like to see Alabama go after as an offensive coordinator? That is the question for today. And I think it's important to know that the past offensive coordinators, Steve Sarkisian, Bill O'Brien, they worked with the quarterbacks, and you've seen the quarterback development at Alabama. And I think that is something that is vital that Alabama knows. Clearly, Nick Saban knows that the quarterback development has been very impressive over the last several years. You look at the progression since Lane Kiffin left, right? You look at the quarterbacks that have been here. Jalen Hurts, obviously, he's playing for the NFC Championship, and we've seen his progression. You have Tua Tagovailoa. You have Mac Jones. You have Bryce Young, slated to be number 1 or number 2. And we got our first call coming in, and we'll take it right now. Hey, how's it going? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson.
Man, how's it going?
But before we start, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Dalton, and I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
All right, go ahead, Dalton.
Yeah, I just want to say I don't know who we're going to get to replace Pete Golding and Bill O'Brien. I do want to say though that I'm very disappointed that Bryce Young didn't win a national championship as a starting quarterback in my opinion, due to Bill O'Brien. I feel like there were definitely times where our offense stalled out because of his play calling, and I've heard rumors about Dan Mullen coming. I would definitely like that. But I mean, I just want our coordinators to actually know what they're doing instead of just pulling shit out of their ass. I'm sorry, but
hey, Dalton, let me ask you something. And we're on with Dalton calling from Georgia, from Atlanta. I love the ATL. Atlanta's always treated me well. Let me ask you something. I get what you're saying, in terms of Alabama working with, Bryce Young, and Bryce Young not winning a national championship when he was here. How much do you think had to do with the wide receiver play and the lack of wide receiver talent? And let's just call it what it is, that Alabama didn't have on the outside. Because you look to the past first-round draft picks, there's not a first-round draft pick coming out of this last class. Do you think it was that paired with Bill O'Brien's maybe conservative play calling? I'm curious to get your take on that.
Yeah, I think it did have a little to do with that. And I feel like a 4 or 5-star receiver would have helped with that. I thought when we got Jermaine Burton coming in from Georgia, that would have definitely helped him and given him a little more
firepower.
More, I guess.
All right, Dalton. Well, hey, I'm gonna let you go, but post inside the comment box who you feel Alabama should have as their next OC. Curious to think what you have. Have love for the ATL, and we'll catch up with you next time, man.
All right, thank you.
Yep, no problem. Call into the show. I'll take your call. Phone lines are open, 205-850-1994. The news is out that Bill O'Brien has been named the OC for the New England Patriots. Sources tell Chris Lowe that O'Brien was the Patriots assistant from 2007 2011. And I think we all knew that Bill O'Brien, it was just a matter of time until he went back to the NFL. So you have Pete Golding, Alabama's defensive coordinator, taking a job with Ole Miss to go coach with Lane Kiffin. And now you have Bill O'Brien linking up with Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. It'll be interesting to see who Alabama goes after. And I know people are really excited about this movement. People want a new offensive coordinator. People wanted a new defensive coordinator. So you're seeing this complete change towards the back end of January. And I want to get your take inside the comment box. A, who should Alabama go after for the next OC? And what didn't you like about Bill O'Brien? Was it the conservative play calling? Because you have probably Bryce either goes 1 or 2 in the NFL draft. So how would you like to see Alabama's offense continue to evolve under this next OC? We're going to take our next caller. It's at 256. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This is Jeff from Pell City, Alabama.
How's it going, buddy? Good morning.
I'm doing good, man. I've been a fan since '76. I've seen everything. I've seen all the coordinators, people coming and going. So I mean, honestly, if you look at it, Nick Saban and Bill Belichick are friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I ain't surprised of him going to New England. But at the same time, we did average 40.8 points a game. But a lot of that was on Bryce's, playmaking ability. So I really, the way I see it on our next offensive coordinator, I just hope we get somebody that puts more emphasis on the run game, and so we can highlight our receivers better than we did last year. Because we did have a few busts last year that came in and didn't do anything.
Yeah, and I think I was talking.
We have the group of running backs to do it.
Jeff, right? Jeff from Alabama.
Yes. Yep.
Jeff, I was talking with Jimmy Stein. He brought up a really great point. And I know the game of college football has evolved in terms of, who can score the most points. And clearly that's how you win the game. But it's like this series of, you get to 50 first almost. But in the NFL, you have to run the football. And I think a lot of people would like to see Alabama get back to running the football, control that time of possession. I'm not saying stop throwing the football, but maybe more of a balanced approach. And I thought Jahmyr Gibbs did a great job in terms of what he brought to Alabama. But do you feel that Alabama has maybe went away from the run? I mean, and would you like to see kind of a more power run game coming back? I mean, you look at the Alabama running back room that's coming back, Chase McClellan, Roydell Williams, Jameer Miller, even the young guns coming in. Would you like to see that approach, or did you feel that it was just something else that didn't work for Bill O'Brien's offense?
Well, the way I see it is for one, our offensive line was lacking, which everybody thought was going to be good because we had all these 5 stars, and which really that doesn't amount to anything when it gets to college, because if you ain't doing using the talent right, and using them right, then it's not going to work. We have a great offensive line coach. You see what he did at Kentucky, but if at the same time, you have to balance it out. If you in the NFL, you don't see them. You have Patrick Mahomes and all them, and some of them do it. But most teams, they're balanced in the NFL that win games. They're balanced on the run game so they can throw it. Their defense, of course, keeps them off field. If you notice how some of these teams that won these games, their defense, like Georgia, eventually stepped up and they stopped who they needed to stop because they stopped the powerful offenses. But the other teams that give them problems had good run games, and they almost lost. So, I think we just got to get back to the way Alabama was. We run the ball, we make them stop us, and then that way we have the play action pass or whatever RPOs, wherever we want, whenever we want them, because we got the receivers to do it.
On the line with Jeff from Alabama. What was your location, Jeff? I always like to point out where people are specific.
Pell City, Alabama.
Pell City. Chris, get that inside the comment box. Jeff from Pell City, Alabama. We appreciate you calling in this morning, Jeff. Jeff,
right, thank you.
Wait, hold on one more second. You've been a fan since 76. You've seen the game evolve. You've seen, Nick Saban and what he's done. Who would you like to see as an offensive coordinator? I mean, there's a lot of names floating out there, but give me your dream pick. Give me some.
Honestly, I don't want to see Dan Mullen. He's not a good recruiter.
So no Dan Mullen.
A lot of people say that. I don't want to see Dan Mullen. No, I don't. I think maybe a Jeff Lebby or it could or somebody from the NFL, Cliff Kingsbury, somebody that might. Somebody that's just an all-around offensive coordinator that just is not dependent on Joe Brady. He's a great quarterback coach. It wouldn't be a bad idea to have somebody come in with the young quarterbacks that we have. Somebody that knows how to work with quarterbacks would be who I would prefer, because you're going to need that with the quarterbacks that we have. Because Jalen Milroe is a great quarterback, but he's not a great passer. And Ty Simpson's more of a passer and the ability to run. So, it's just – and then of course, Eli Holstein and build it along. But I mean, we need somebody that's going to be able to work with these young quarterbacks because we have the rest of the stuff. We have the receivers, we have the running backs, we got a good offensive line now. I mean, we have all of that. We just got to have somebody that's going to have to be able to work with a quarterback that's used to it, and be able to get the right game plan out there for us to play because we have some big games this year that we got to take care of.
Hey, Jeff, thank you very much for calling in, man. Call again next time we have our live show. We appreciate you.
All right. Yes, sir. You have a great day.
All right. You too, buddy.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. That was Jeff from Pell City, Alabama. We're going to go back to the phone lines. We got a 615 coming in, and then we have a 601. So you guys are in the queue. It's official. Bill O'Brien has been named the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots, will now be the OC for Mac Jones. Wonder how Mac Jones feels about that, right? I think Bill O'Brien's a good fit back in the NFL as an offensive coordinator. I know a lot of people didn't like him when he was I think he was the head coach and the GM for the Houston Texans. And then you see him come to Alabama, unable to win a national title with probably Alabama's best quarterback ever, right? That would get people going, right, Chris? So we talk about who's Alabama's best quarterback, within, kind of the Saban era. I mean, even though over the last 4 years, right? 5 years, 5 seasons. I mean, you look to Alabama's progression at that quarterback spot. That's why I think when I ask you guys, like, who would you like to see as the OC? It's not only about the OC, but it's about the transformation that continue to progress on the quarterbacks, because the quarterbacks have gotten better and better and better each season. We will go to our phone lines next. Jeff from Pell City just said, no, Dan Mullen doesn't like the way he recruits. We got a 615 coming in right now. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This is Roderick calling in from Nashville, Tennessee.
Roderick, we appreciate you. I love Nashville. Nashville has treated me so well. I love the hot chicken. Love the whole scene. What you got for me? What's your initial take on Bill O'Brien, the news, and who would you like to see as Alabama's next OC?
It's funny. I never liked the Bill O'Brien hire. I think Bill O'Brien came from a very conservative place after having Sarkisian and having Lane with the wide open offense and a lot of the diversity in our play calling, to come to a basic person like O'Brien. I could pretty much tell. I called the plays when O'Brien was when he was calling plays. I said they're gonna run the ball this time. They're gonna give the ball off this time. They're gonna dump the ball to somebody. So it was never creative. So therefore, in the SEC, with our aggression on defense, they got some very aggressive defensive lines. It's hard for us to run the ball because of the style of play that he was calling. I think that he was never a good fit. I know people talked about him, but I looked at what he did at Houston. I think that was a dumpster fire. And even when he was at New England, he was never created. I didn't really think he was that creative mind that Alabama needed to keep up, where we were the past 2 years with Tua and with Lane and and also with Sarkisian. I think it was a bad hire for me.
On the line with Roderick, calling in from Nashville, Tennessee. As you look forward, and just as I was talking about kind of the development of the quarterback position, and you looked how Alabama's offense has continued to emerge, maybe not and evolve, maybe not this last season. Who would you like to see, or who do you think is a good fit? I mean, maybe give me a dream, pick, and maybe some other names that you would like to see Nick Saban go after. And sometimes, we don't know who Nick Saban's going to go after. Somebody might have, put a couple realistic names, but Roderick, when you look at the OC board, who would you like to see Alabama go after?
Yeah. Oh, I hear a lot of people talking about Cliff Kingsbury, which I like. I like his style of play. I would definitely look at someone that has a very diverse play calling, not all throwing, some runs, even screenplays. We didn't even do many screenplays. I don't really know that person. I'm quite sure that Nick has a whole list of various OCs that he has in mind. But I would look at somebody under the Shanahan tree, maybe somebody who was a quarterback coach, or somebody who was that was under Shanahan, or somebody who was came through the Lane Kiffin area. Very diverse in play styles. A lot of motion driven offense and things that will confuse the defense. I think when we played this year, our offense was not confusing enough for the average defense. So if you had a strong defensive line or some decent cornerbacks, they can shut us down. So I just want somebody who's going to be young, innovative, and creative. Because when you look at recruiting, thank God we still had a great recruiting
Hmm.
year. But when you look at receivers and you look at quarterbacks that they want to come somewhere where they can be utilized. I think, and I heard a lot of people talk about the level of skilled players that we had in the receiving room. As far as they couldn't play, they were not good receivers. To me, we never even got a chance to experience those guys. We
Hmm.
didn't play enough young receivers in the last couple of years to give them that experience. So last year in the national championship game, where both our top receivers went down, the people that we had to depend on to take us through the national championship game were not even equipped to do it because they were still, like freshmen. They didn't have the experience on the field, so they were dropping balls. They were nervous. They didn't run the routes right. So therefore, I think we need to get somebody that's going to utilize that young talent. We had a lot of speed. We had a lot of great players that I think we underutilized them. Therefore, that's why they hit the transfer portal. I didn't think we had such a great number of upperclassmen that these people couldn't get on the field to get some playing time. So therefore, I just like to see somebody with some creativity, something that's diverse and also get the ball further down the field. No long plays. We had very few long plays, and that Bryce could throw downfield because you saw what he did with the receivers the year before.
Yeah.
It's just that I think he didn't call. He called a very conservative game. Therefore, we didn't get those young guys the playing time they need, and these guys are leaving. That's why a lot of our receivers left.
Hey, Roderick. Well, thank you very much for calling in, man. Please call in again. I love the call from Nashville. You had some really good dialogue. I appreciate it. Feel free to call in anytime. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and like, and make sure you subscribe so you're notified every time we talk Alabama football content. We appreciate you, Roderick.
All right. Thanks, Cal. Okay.
I was Roderick calling in from Nashville, Tennessee. We appreciate you guys calling in. We're going to move to our next caller. We got a 601 we're about to take. Hang in there. I know you've been patient. Just stay with me. The call-in line is open. 205-850-1994 is the call-in number. I think Roderick brought up some good points. I mean, when you talk about kind of the direction of Alabama's next offensive coordinator, and I thought he brought up a good point, is somebody kind of almost from that Shanahan tree. When you look at the San Francisco 49ers, one of the things that they're very good at doing is getting their football to all of their weapons and being creative and using those type of weapons. They're not afraid to put CMC, Christian McCaffrey, out on the outside. They're not afraid to put Debo in the backfield. They do what works to get their players the football. And I think that's very imperative to do, right? You got to feed Kittle. You got to get Juszczyk. You got to get your backup running back in there. And I think the 49ers do that really well. I know a lot of people would like to see Eric Bieniemy, from the Chiefs as the OC, maybe get in there, but that might be unrealistic. But somebody who can be creative in terms of getting all these electric players the football. We're taking our 601 right now. Yeah, I appreciate you being patient, man. Who are we on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
I'm Jay from Pensacola, Florida.
Jay, what's up, man? Good morning. I hope you're having a great Tuesday. What you got in terms of Alabama's OC, what's your take on Bill O'Brien exiting, and who would you like to see Alabama go after?
I've heard a lot of the Joe Brady, and I would kind of like that. I feel like Bill O'Brien, I feel like he wasn't a great developer. I want to piggyback off what you said, and I feel like we have young talent in Barnes, number 80. I feel like they're great young receivers, and I feel like if we had somebody to develop how Steve Sarkisian developed Mac Jones when he was there, how he developed the receiver we had then. And I just feel like we don't have nobody. We didn't have anybody to develop the young players. Like they coming in freshmen, as you said, 2021, and that's championship when both our top receivers went down. We had nobody to develop the young kids in order to get them to that point. If we had somebody that was a great quarterback or a great receivers coach to coach them there, and then I feel like we wouldn't have had a issue with them, especially this year, like how they were so called conservative with play calling. Like he wouldn't throw down the field. If we had a coach to develop them young players to with the route runnings and going down the field and catching the ball, and I just feel like we had a better developer, it would have been a greater season in my opinion.
All right, we're on the line with Jay from Pensacola, Florida. On this Tuesday morning, call-in line is open. Put that call-in line on the bottom, Chris, so we can get the number out. 205-850-1994 is the number to call in. Call into the show, take your call. Want to get your thoughts on Bill O'Brien exiting the program, and also who would you like to see Alabama go after as a realistic option to take over the OC spot? Jay, when you looked at this Alabama team, you mentioned that maybe there wasn't the development that you wanted to see, that Alabama couldn't take the top off like they had in years past, and you'd like to see more development from that offensive overview and maybe from the receivers. Is there a dream offensive coordinator that you would like to see out there when you look to offensive hot boards that are running across the internet? By the way, you can go to On3 right now, Bama Insider, and read our hot board. Go check it out. Jay, who would you like to see Nick Saban target in this offensive coordinator search?
I agree with the others who said Joe Brady. I feel like he will bring I feel like he can develop these young players, and especially the quarterback room. I like Jay Miro, and I like Ty Simpson. I feel like Ty Simpson, I agree, he's a better passer, and he can be more athletic. I want to lean towards Ty Simpson because I feel like he can throw the ball, and I feel like with somebody bringing in a running back coach, that they can help develop more our running back room, so that way we can run the ball more, as other people talked about, and he can develop the young quarterbacks. I agree with Joe Brady.
All right, Jay. Well, we appreciate your call from Pensacola, Florida. We hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday. Feel free to call in next time. Have a beautiful day. Stay blessed, and we'll catch up with you soon. Appreciate you, Jay.
Appreciate it, man. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide to you, buddy. All right, that was Jay calling in from Pensacola, Florida. We got a 256 and a 270 in the queue. We will take your call in just a minute. The number is 205-850-1994. Alabama former offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien has taken the OC job with the New England Patriots. He was with the Patriots from 2007 to 2011. We'll link back up with Mac Jones, who obviously won a national championship with the Crimson Tide. That team was unbelievable, by the way. I mean, you look at all the weapons that they had. It was just such an incredible team, and it was a great story to see a lot of people not believing in Mac Jones, and then he comes back, does the work, and then rolls out to an incredible season. That was the COVID year. Who would you like to see Alabama go after for their next offensive coordinator? On the line next, we got a 256. We're taking it right now. Hey, good morning. Who are we on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This is John from St. Louis.
Hey, John, what's up, man? Good to hear from you this morning. The news is out. Bill O'Brien taking an OC job with the Patriots. Your initial thoughts, and who would you like to see Nick Saban go after?
Well, I got a little bit of like a contrarian opinion on this. I think Bill O'Brien takes way too much of the blame for Alabama's losses on the field. I look back at the last couple seasons, I see a consistent trend. I see offenses that put up a lot of points, and I see defenses that gave up a lot of points. So I think a lot gets made out of Bill O'Brien's play calling. If I had to really put the blame somewhere, I put on Pete Golding's defenses.
Pete Golding's defense. We're on with John from St. Louis talking about Alabama's offensive coordinator, that he shouldn't have taken all the blame. I think there's a lot of people who probably have that same opinion, because when you look to Alabama's offense, it's not like they weren't getting points on the board, right? And I think, in my opinion, I think it came down to the wide receivers, and that's just my take. I just don't think that they had the wide receivers, and that's my personal opinion. With your opinion, you're saying that it was on the defense, and I think you could look at it two ways, and maybe that's why Nick Saban had to make some changes. When things aren't going right, you have to look down and make changes, and that's something that Nick Saban is doing. We appreciate your take, John, regarding Bill O'Brien, and maybe he shouldn't have taken all of the blame. I want to ask you this, John. When you look to Alabama's offense, the personnel, you have Ty Simpson, Jalen Milroe coming back. Who would you like to see Alabama target as their next offensive coordinator as we move forward?
I would like us to hire the ghost of Mike Leach or possibly Tom Brady.
All right, the ghost of Mike. Well, the thing is, all right, and God, it was terrible. It was terrible to lose Mike Leach, right? I mean, you like what he brought to not only college football, but yeah, exactly, but to life. I mean, you go back and watch his videos and just how he got it right from talking about candy or Netflix or breaking down the passing trees. But underneath him, you have so many coaches, just like Coach Saban, who understand the philosophy of getting the football to your weapons. And that's why I brought it up earlier that it's important, whoever takes over this program, that can not only work with the quarterbacks, but also is creative enough to get all of the weapons, the football, right? And I would like to see someone come in that can be creative enough to get everyone the football if they can. And I follow the 49ers, but I see it every Sunday when they play, is that Shanahan is a genius about getting their players the football. Anything else, John, while we have you on right now? And we're hearing John from St. Louis on the call.
Well, I just want to say I feel I got all faith in Coach Saban to make the right hire, and I like Milroe as quarterback next year. He's a lot of fun to watch. So whoever they bring in, I hope that they can play to his strengths. All
right, man. We appreciate the call from St. Louis, and we'll catch up with you next time. John from St. Louis, we appreciate you. All right. Call line is open to put the call line number on the bottom of the screen, 205-850-1994. Everyone's reacting this morning to the news that Bill O'Brien has taken the offensive coordinator position with the New England Patriots. We're about to move to our next caller. 270 is our caller in the queue. We appreciate it. 205-850-1994 is the call. So when you call in, I want to ask you your initial thoughts, and then also who would you like to see Alabama go after for the OC choice? And then I want to ask you another question. Who do you think it's going to be, Jalen Milroe or Ty Simpson, when you look to Alabama's next quarterback, or is it going to be one of the young guns coming in as a freshman? We're moving to our 270 right now. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who are we on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hi, it's Sherrod. I'm calling in from Kentucky.
All right, speak up a little bit. It looks like our connection isn't that strong. Say it one more time.
Is that better?
Yeah. So let's start all over. Who are we on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Sherrod. I'm calling in from Kentucky.
Okay. And what was your name?
Sherrod.
All right, Sherrod. All right, go ahead, man. Take it away.
I wouldn't say all the blame's on Bill O'Brien. I mean, the offense did score a lot. But I am glad he's gone because he didn't get – we had playmakers, young playmakers that could have got the ball more, but he didn't scheme good enough to get them the ball. I felt Bond could have played a lot more. They could have used him in jet sweeps, could use Gibbs more in jet sweeps, things like that, just to open up the playbook a little bit more. He was too conservative. He was more like a NFL-type play caller because we would get leads. Then he would kind of dial back on the play caller, which kind of let teams kind of creep back in, knowing the defense was kind of weak. My personal opinion, who I want Nick Saban hire, Dan Mullen and Jeff Levy, somebody like that, just because to get more RPO action.
Yeah.
Jeff Levy was around Lane Kiffin. Dan Mullen, he had Dak Prescott. They ran a lot of RPOs. We have quarterbacks that's kind of a dual threat. They can throw it in and run it, like a Jalen Milroe. Jeff Levy or Dan Mullen can help Jalen Milroe in that aspect. So, and I don't know who the quarterback will be. It depends on who the OC is and how they pick up on his game.
Sherrod from Kentucky, we appreciate you calling in. I have a question. When you look to Alabama's offense or the lack thereof this past season, I mean, and you pointed out that you don't think all the blame is on Bill O'Brien. When you look into the personnel that Alabama had, obviously Jahmyr Gibbs had an amazing season. Bryce Young, didn't have as big as a season as years past, but he was still super effective, dealt with a shoulder injury. What were some of your thoughts on Alabama's overall offense? Did you feel that, like I've been saying, that the wide receiver position just didn't have the speed that we are used to seeing, that they couldn't beat you over the top? I mean, did you feel that way as well?
They didn't have the speed to blow the top off the defense. No, they didn't. But sometimes you just kind of got to adjust to what you got. You got to know your
Yeah.
personnel and know,
Mhm.
all right, you kind of got to scheme to get that way to where you can blow the top off. That way somebody's running wide open down the field. It's not always about just running past somebody. Sometimes you got, as offense coordinator, you got to scheme that in your game plan.
You know what I noticed about Alabama's offense, Sherrod, but this is the last thing I want to ask you before we move to our next caller. I saw a lot of dropped passes, not only from the receivers, but
Yeah, that
also
was.
like from Kamla too. Like you look at, the season before, he had an incredible season, right? I think he even had 8 touchdowns, but I just saw a lot of drop passes. I didn't, this isn't something that I've seen covering Alabama football.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was a lot of drop balls that Trayvon Holden, he dropped a lot of balls that could have got us first downs when we needed on third down. Gibbs dropped a lot. It's just, I don't know. I just don't know. I haven't seen it before. We didn't have the alpha male in the wide receiver room. We didn't have the alpha male like, get me the ball, third down, get me the ball. We didn't have that guy. We didn't have a Julio or Calvin Ridley or Devontae Smith or Amari Cooper. We didn't have that on the team this year.
Hey, Sherrod, we appreciate your call, man. Thanks for calling in from the 270. We appreciate you calling in next time we have our live show.
All right, thank you.
All right. That was Sherrod from Kentucky. We appreciate you guys calling in. We're about to move to our next caller. It's a 205. We can't wait to hear from a local caller. But I think Sherrod brings up a good point. When you look to that wide receiver position and you look to that wide receiver room, who was the alpha? I'll tell you who the alpha was Devontae Smith when he was here. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, you have to throw around it very tight when you talk about kind of that Mamba mentality, but Devontae Smith had it. I mean, he was just looking in his eyes, right? Give me the football. You see what he's doing for the Philadelphia Eagles along with Jalen Hurts. That is an incredible duo, one of the best duos in the NFL right now. We're about to move to our next caller. I want to hear your take inside the comment box. Call-in line is also open. You can call in. There's plenty of room for you. 205-850-1994 is the call-in number. We're taking our next caller. It is a 205, and we'll take it right now. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who are we on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
I'm Jawan, and I'm calling in from Birmingham, Alabama. Just wanted to touch on the thing with the offensive coordinator and receivers. I know people were talking about the alpha male in the receiver room. When really, think about it, before Devontae Smith became the alpha male on the 2020 season, it was basically shared role between him and Jalen Waddle. When Waddle went down, then that's when, the ball kind of went more so into Smith's hands. And the years before that, it was really receiver committee, because you had Judy, you had Mechie, the ball was spreading everywhere. So, you had a host of receivers. I think this past year, when you turn on and look on the film, a lot of the routes were taking too long to develop. We had no screen routes. We had no short routes, no drag routes, no 10 yards to end, no seam routes where you can get the ball out of pressure, automatically was in bright space. You never had any of that. So a lot of those routes were 10, 15 yards deep. And if you're going to be throwing it that long with that far, the offensive line has to hold up. So I think that comes back down to offensive coordinator scheme. You have to know your personnel. Yes, there were a lot of drop balls, but a lot of that falls on scheming and knowing how much time you're going to have. Where can you go with your quick routes?
Great call. I like the take, and pointing out kind of the fact that, when you talk about the schematics, sometimes it's just, it is what it is. And I think when you move to Alabama's next OC, and just like we've been talking about, I think you start to see the theme of somebody creative enough to get the football to all these guys. Juwan, tell me your, a realistic pick, a dream pick for Alabama's next OC. As Coach Saban, and look, he's probably already has somebody ready to go, but let's say there is a search. Who do you like, Juwan?
Either Joe Brady or Jeff Levy. The reason why I'm kind of not leaning towards Dan Mullen, because I think if everybody's kind of hitting on the head with the recruiting, and again, we were running into this thing where if we bring in somebody, we also want somebody that's going to be here for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Someone that can build a relationship with the players, develop them, and kind of issue the mode of their offense in. I think a lot of times when we bring these coordinators in, they're there for maybe a 1-year stint, 2-year stint, and then now the next year we have to change the whole way that we, move the ball downfield. Same thing that can be said for like with defense. Now that we're moving past Golding, we need again a defensive minded coach who's creative, because I think one of the callers touched on the fact that over the years we have been giving up all these points,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and it boils down to stun, creativity, blitz packages, stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. So I believe either Jeff Levy is probably going to be the guy, or if he can pull Joe Brady, that would be nice, because Joe Brady did do a good job with LSU that year.
On with Jawan from Birmingham. We appreciate the call. We have someone in the comment box. They're like, preach, caller. We appreciate you. So, man, spot on call. Before I let you go, I want to ask you about Alabama's the quarterback position going into almost to the month of February, right? And then spring football will be here. You got Jalen Milroe coming back. You got Ty Simpson. You got two very talented early enrollee quarterbacks. What do you like about these quarterbacks, and what do you kind of see going into the springtime?
So the quarterbacks that we're evaluating now, or everybody's evaluated, from Milroe to Simpson. I love the fact that Milroe is diverse. He's electric. He's explosive. He can take off, get those long yards, and again, he does have a nice deep ball. Accuracy needs a little bit more work, and I guess that's just gonna come down to reps. Getting those much needed reps. If we're going for a light, Ty Simpson a lot better. When I turn to look at his film, he's not as fast as Milroe, but he can still get those yards. He has some weight to him, so if he needs to put his head down and get a couple yards, he can get it. And I like his accuracy. I like his feet work. So I think Ty is our best bet going forward.
Hey, well, Jawan, we appreciate the call. Please call again next time. Very good take, very good dialogue. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Definitely drop us a like inside the comment box, or under this video, rather. Be sure to subscribe, and we really appreciate you calling in this morning, Jawan.
Yes, sir. Be blessed, brother.
All right, you too, man. All right. Great call from Jawan out in Birmingham. We got a 770 and a 334 inside the comment box or in the call queue. We will take those callers next. I want to get your take when you call in on your initial thoughts to Bill O'Brien leaving Alabama to take the new OC spot with the New England Patriots, and then also who you would like to see Nick Saban go after. I also might ask you about the quarterback position as we go into spring football. Kyle Henderson, a Bama insider, hit the thumbs up on this video. Really appreciate it. We got 300 watching. We should have 300 thumbs up. Really goes a long way. I think we had a super chat earlier that I missed. I think it was like 199. So we appreciate you guys supporting our channel right here on Bama Insider, inching closer to 90,000 subscribers right here on Bama Insider. And that was from Blake. He was like, this is the greatest news I could have woke up to with Bill O'Brien leaving to take the OC spot with the Patriots. Okay, we got our 770. We're going to take that call right now. Hey, good morning. We appreciate you calling in. Who are we on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This is Rambo calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
Rambo, what's up, man? We love Atlanta. Atlanta has always treated me well. I always say that because when I go to the ATL, man, it's just I'm welcomed. I've always had a good time there. Give me your take on Bill O'Brien taking the job with the Pats, and then also who would you like to see Nick Saban go after?
I would more so see everybody hitting it on the head, Jeff Levy or Joe Brady, but one guy who I don't know his name. He's the 49ers. I don't know who's the 49ers offensive coordinator, but the past couple of years, I've always seen the 49ers have regular players besides Debo Samuel, and now they got Christian McCaffrey, but they always had I don't know who the offensive coordinator, but he always drew up good plays, but they never had a quarterback. And I always like an offensive coordinator that know how to use below average talent, and great players, and use all of them. Besides the offensive coordinator that can only use top tier talent, and he don't know what to do with the rest of the pieces. But I don't know his name. If you know his name, but besides him, I would say Jeff Levy or Joe Brady. What everybody else saying, I would agree with everybody else.
I think when you look to the 49ers offense, it's Kyle Shanahan who's designing these plays and is like he's playing chess out there with the 49ers offense. A lot of people calling for Jeff Levy to be the OC. There's some other names that have been floating around. I think Nick Saban probably already has kind of his pulse on who he wants to go after. What did you think when you watched Alabama's offense this past year? What did you think was lacking? What frustrated you, if anything, when you were looking to watching the Crimson Tide this past year?
I would say I blame it on Bill, and I blame it on the players. I don't put it all on Bill. I hear a lot of callers all instantly call and blame Bill, but you can call any play that you want. If the player is not catching the ball, if the linemen are not blocking, I don't care. You can have the greatest quarterback in the backfield. If the line don't hold up like last year, then this year, the caller was saying like taking 10, 15 yards. They did that. Corey dropped so many hot route footballs this year. Jermaine Burton dropped so many hot routes. And then you got a couple old Alabama players in whatever. They like, yeah, Saban to pull the freshman or whatever. He don't care if you had a good game. If you messing up this one, he'll pull you instantly. I get that. But if we don't even have a number one, let alone we barely had a number two. So if you going to go ahead and let the young players play, they only gonna lack in inexperience. All the younger talent, that's the best talent. Those starters that we had, I don't know what Bill was doing. All of those were possession receivers. We didn't have nobody with no real juice.
See,
Everybody
no,
was
I think
6'4" and
Rambo,
6'3" and they were slow.
Rambo, I love the take because you look at Kobe Prentice. He was a freshman. Get him the football, right? And they did. But like Isaiah Bond, I wish we would have seen more of him. I mean, he has that speed to burn. And I think if we would have seen Aaron Anderson, he would have had that speed as well. And I think you're right. Like those were possession wide receivers. In my opinion, Jermaine Burton is a possession wide receiver. Trayshawn Holden, possession wide receiver. Ja'Cory Brooks, you could probably even say he's almost a possession wide receiver. So, yeah, I appreciate your take, Rambo. Let me ask you this before I let you go, Rambo. When you looked at Jalen Milroe coming in, Ty Simpson, who do you like at the quarterback position for Alabama going into at least the spring season?
With that one right there, I don't understand why it's a hard debate. That one easy. It's Ty Simpson. Not because of the rankings or any of that. I like Ty Simpson because when Bama has a dang on quarterback that's power cleaning and squatting more videos than he's showing you studying a playbook, I don't want to see you bench pressing and squatting and everybody getting hype off that. What is him being able to lift 1,000 pounds gonna do for us? That's gonna do nothing. And then you see what it did. He's running shoulder to shoulder every run. Don't even know how to slide. He haven't even learned how to slide yet. So with that, I would say Ty Simpson because he know how to read. And then with Jalen Milroe playing quarterback, he's going to take carries from our running backs. I don't want no quarterback who's going to take the carries away because they want to run a quarterback that runs better than he passes. So I want a quarterback that will eat you alive and pick you apart. And then you got the running back to expose them again and let the running back show off his talent. You're going to take plays away from the running back. Like, how is Justin Haynes going to get 22 like Derrick Henry carries and everybody screaming about these freshmen, these running backs, when Jalen Milroe going to be carrying the ball 15 times? Okay, so how many times you going to get a duo? You can't explain that. But if you put Ty back there, he's going to sling it for like 30 times, and then most of the runs, he's going to run it like 3 times a game. He's going to run it like 4th and 1, quarterback sneak, 4th and 1 at the goal line. That's all I need. Jalen Milroe, I don't need you trying to do a snap and take off straight with the ball. DBs, everybody's going to zero in, and then you're going to panic. So I would rather take Ty Simpson. I don't have time for all that weightlifting videos. You want to run more than you pass. Give me somebody who's going to pick you apart. And thank you for taking my call, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Rambo. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate you. Stay blessed, man. That was Rambo calling in from the ATL. We got a 334 inside the call queue as well as a 251. We'll get to you in just a minute. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. My name is Kyle Henderson, a Bama Insider. Today we're asking you who should Alabama target as their next OC? We're asking you about the quarterback position following the news that Bill O'Brien is headed to the New England Patriots as their next OC. I thought Rambo brought up a great point in terms of like Milroe not sliding. There was a lot of times where he would get close to the end zone. I think he was like hit like a couple helicopters, right? Like he would just like fly in the air. But the dude is completely jacked. So I'm out at the restaurant here in Tuscaloosa the other night. I mean, he looks like Derrick Henry. I mean, the dude is completely jacked. And I think he has a lot of ability. And one thing that I've learned is to never be overly critical of quarterbacks in their early development, because I think there was, a big learning experience. I always bring this up. when a lot of people didn't want to see Mac Jones, in his progression. Remember when he first came in and people were like, dude, this is not the guy. And then you saw him slowly develop and goes out and wins a natty for Bama. I'm not saying that Milroe is going to do that. I'm just saying let these coaches work with these guys. A very interesting point before we take our next caller. Alabama also lost Alex Mortensen, who worked with the quarterbacks, and he was kind of like the quarterback whisperer who was at Alabama for a long time and worked with each of the quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, Mac Jones, and also Bryce Young, and he will be at now UAB. I think that's going to be a really big loss that nobody is really talking about. I mean, he did a fantastic job working with the quarterback room. We're taking our next caller, and 334, and we start right now. Hey, good morning. Thank you for calling in. Who are we on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, what's good, Kyle? I'm also Kyle. This is Kyle calling out of Birmingham, Alabama, man. What's happening with you?
What's up, man? We appreciate you calling. Love the name. Let's get your take on Bill O'Brien taking the OC job with the Pats, and then also, who do you think Nick Saban should target?
Okay, man, to be honest, first of all, when I got the news this morning, I thought it was a hoax because my friend sent me the message through text, and I'm thinking he's joking. And that's the best news I've heard in a long time. Let me just start there, and I'm gonna say this: when it comes down to either Jeff Lebby or Brady, I feel like, and I'm curious for your take on this. I feel like Jeff Lebby he just has wrinkles. And he has like an intricate offense, and he involves the tight ends. And he's a very clever offensive mind. Mm-hmm. I would actually go with Jeff Lebby. I mean, if we can land Joe Brady, that's fine. That would be a plus. But I think Lebby would be like a better fit on a college level, especially. I just think he'd be a better fit.
Yeah, I think it's going to be I'm curious to see. I'm looking up Jeff Lebby right now. We're actually the same age, 39 years old. You look at kind of his pedigree, where he started out at Oklahoma, and then, is currently back at Oklahoma, worked with Lane Kiffin. So I think as you look to those type of offenses, what they've done, those are the type of offenses that are clearly making waves in this era of college football. However, it's been posed by Jimmy Stein, who works for Bama Insider, that when you look to the NFL, completely different game. The teams that are winning, the teams that are moving the football, and currently playing, can run the football very effectively as well. I mean, we look at the teams, the Final Four in the NFL. I thought that was a good point as well. And I don't think that is going to necessarily happen because college football is a completely different game. But I think you have to really be able to utilize that big power game to control some of the time of possession in the world where getting to 51st is kind of the way that college football works. What else is your take when you look to this Alabama offense? And I've been asking callers this morning, what was most frustrating to you when you watch this Alabama offense this past season?
Man, it was just, let's keep it real, Kyle. Let's be completely honest. The plays, and previous callers have touched on it, the plays took way too long to develop. Mm-hmm. There was just a complete lack of creativity. And if we really want to be honest, most of the big plays that we had, the line had already broken down, and basically Bryce put the team on his back like he did, and we appreciate that. But it shouldn't have had to come to that. It was just basically Bryce scrambling and saving the day himself. Yeah. That was not. It didn't look like it was designed. It just looked like he just ran into a wall, and he was like, okay, I have to put the cape on. I have to do this myself. And it shouldn't have had to come there. We had way too many weapons, way too much talent on the bench. It should not have had to come there. It was just very frustrating. Very frustrating, man. Because we know we have the talent. Yeah. That's the thing. We know we have the talent. It was just the implementation of the plays. It was lacking. I'm going to be honest. It was lacking.
You bring up such a great point, because there were so many times where Bryce, I mean, he literally, like, the things that he did in the backfield and his ability to extend the play and to still be creative was something that I don't think we've seen in a while, since almost, like, I don't know, go back to like the Johnny Manziel or guys who could really just have that extendability, right? You're like, like, how many times did you watch Bryce Young and you're like, my goodness, I've never seen that before. And then he finds somebody in the end zone. It's almost like he's playing backyard football, right? Right. Like that's what it was. It was like, my goodness, I've never seen him. Like, the plays would be like almost like 17 seconds long. And,
Right.
and I think when you look to the quarterback position, what I want to ask you about now with Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson, Jalen Milroe can run the football. He's one of the fastest players on the team. But I think with Ty Simpson, a lot of people don't know that he also has that play extending ability, that side-to-side movement, can keep the play going downfield. Go back and watch his senior year high school highlight tape and see what he can do. And I know it's not against the best competition, but my point is he can extend plays similar to what Bryce did. Not the exact same way, but Jalen Milroe is fast up and down. Ty Simpson is fast side to side. There's a big difference. What do you like about each of the quarterbacks going in? Or maybe you like one of these younger freshmen coming in. Give me your take, Kyle.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think, and the previous caller touched on it. I don't mean to like steal his points, but he really did touch on it. I think when we see these clips of Milroe, lifting a metric ton in the weight room, it's like, okay, yeah, that's impressive. Yeah, that's athletic. But I feel like with the weapons around the quarterback, especially this incoming season, and with a brilliant offensive mind to really implement those, I kind of feel like, I'm not saying that the athleticism of the because if you have a dual threat quarterback, of course that creates problems for the opposing defense. Everybody knows that. But I feel like Ty Simpson would be a better fit to implement and to like smoothly run along the offense. I really do. And I love Milroe. I mean, he's impressive. But if we're talking about quarterback, we have to ask, is that really necessary with the additional weapons that he has at his disposal? And that's my take on that.
Yeah, well, I think it's a great take. I love where you're coming with it in terms of the quarterback and kind of the direction of this offense. Kyle, please call again. We appreciate you calling in this morning. Hope you have a blessed rest of your day. Stay blessed. Call in next time we have a live show. Love to hear from you again.
You as well, brother. Have a blessed one, man.
All right, man. Take it easy. All right. That was our buddy Kyle from Birmingham calling in. We got a 251 and a 334 in the queue. We'll get to you guys next. Want to get your take on Bill O'Brien headed to the Patriots, and who do you think that Nick Saban should go after moving forward for this next OC? I think that when you look to Alabama's offense and you have the weapons coming in, and I just asked Chris and my producer in the background, how many times was how many times was Bryce Young sacked? It varies 22 times and 18 times. That's what ESPN has 22 times. Looks like Roll Tide has 18 times. Milroe was sacked 4 times. So, I mean, there it is. Because I know we've been talking about the offensive line a little bit. We're going to take our next caller. It's a 251. We'll start right now. Hey, what's going on? It's Kyle Henderson. Thanks for calling. Where are you calling in from, and who are we on the line with?
Hey, good morning, Kyle. This is Jack from Bayman, Alabama.
All right. Good to hear from you this morning. Appreciate you calling in. Your initial take on Bill O'Brien headed to the Patriots, and then who do you think Nick Saban should target?
Well, I think it's a good move. The pro scheme that Bill O'Brien brought to Alabama, as other callers have said, the scheme didn't play into the hands of what Alabama had. Plays took too long. I think also, more importantly to me, was they got away from the run game. They got Gibbs in there from Georgia Tech, and yes, he's a speedy type running back that can catch the ball, and that's exactly what he did. And then what we did was we went away from what Alabama used to do, which was run it down your throat with a big guy like Najee Harris, Derrick Henry. Even, last year we were running with Robinson.
Yep.
We got away from that completely, and all of a sudden the running back became our top wide receiver.
Yep.
And I think that played a big part into why plays took so long because, like I said, we had no running game. So they were dropping back in coverage, and things were having to take longer because there was no man-to-man because we had no running game whatsoever. So I think we need to get back to some smash mouth, get back to actually running the ball, which is what, if you look at our 2020 team that was just so dynamic, Najee Harris was scaring everybody to death. And that left us open, and left our Sarkisian, who's a great schemer, which is what we need. I think a couple callers earlier hit it on the head with scheme. We have got to get some people to scheme to get the right scheme, to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands quicker. But that all predicates off running the ball. So we've got to get back to some type of running game that puts fear into these linebackers and brings them up a little bit so we can have those over the middle slant passes and those quick schemes, which made us so dangerous in 2020. Until that happens, it doesn't matter what happens. I mean, if they're not scared of the run, they're just going to drop, people back in zone coverage and make it, longer plays. And that's what happened to Bryce this year.
On the line with Jack from Bay Minute, Alabama. We appreciate you calling in. Jack, when you look to Alabama's running back room that's returning into 2023, do you think that Alabama has that personnel to play power football if they need to, with Jace McClellan, Roydell Williams, Jameer Miller coming back?
Well, if people, kind of remember, Jace McClellan was taking over Brian Robinson's spot before he got hurt. I'm not knocking anything from Brian Robinson. Sure. I love the kid. He's in pros, but I mean, you got to remember, if you look before he got hurt last year, he was starting to get more reps than Robinson was. The kid is a stud running back, a true stud running back, and now that he's healthy, you're going to see that this year. So, we got away from it last year for whatever reason. We went straight to Gibbs. I don't know why. I mean, Gibbs is dynamic, but we went straight away from him, and Chase didn't get nothing last year, hardly, if you remember. So yes, we'll have the running game this year. We need a guy that can scheme the offense around that and get these quick throws, which leads me to probably your other question, which is the quarterback play.
Yeah, let's hear it, Jack. What you think about the quarterback room going into the 2023 spring season?
Well, I'm going to say Ty for a different reason than a lot of other people have. I'm a big eyes guy. I need to have a quarterback that has the eyes to look and read defenses. That's what made Mac so great. Actually, that's what, kind of made Tua better than Jalen at the time. Jalen squatted more than anybody else on the team, but Jalen was a one read, and earlier in his career, he was a one read and run quarterback. Tua read defenses quicker and better. Mac actually read defenses quicker and better than Tua. We have to have a guy that can do that. If you watch the Texas A&M game, my biggest concern about Jalen Milroe was he didn't even have a first read. When he looked up, and if there wasn't a soul open, he was gone. He had happy feet, and that's my biggest concern with the kid. You can't really, and I hate to say this, it's hard to teach that. Quick read, quick mind, quick eyes to get off the first read, go to second read to make the throw. And that's why I think Ty would be the better quarterback if he's that way. I'm not seeing a lot of film on Ty either. So, I mean, let's not jump around and say we've seen so much by him that he's the number one because we've seen so much film on this kid. We've just seen what we've seen with Jalen Milroe. In my mind, he just doesn't have the eyes to read defenses yet. Hopefully he'll get it.
Hey, Jack, well, we appreciate your call this morning. Next time we have our live show, please call in again. You have some very good dialogue. I think you hit on some really great points. I think people would like to hear from you again. So please keep our number. Call in next time. My name is Kyle Henderson. Drop us a like below on this video. Please subscribe, and we'll catch up with you next time.
Thank you.
All right. That was Jack from Alabama. Okay. I want to tell you guys about this nugget. We have our next caller. This will be our last caller. It's a 251. Hang in there. I have meetings today. Otherwise, I talk to you guys all day. It's all good. And if you guys want more call-in shows, let me know inside the comment box. I'd love to have more call-in shows. We want to hear from you, the viewer, what you guys want in terms of content. And I know it's in kind of the off season, but if you guys want to talk, football all the time, let's figure out a schedule and come on and take your calls. So let me know inside the comment box. All right, here's a nugget. I live in Tuscaloosa. Out on the golf course is where you can learn big time nuggets. You play with, guys who are super connected to the program. Okay. Connected. And I was talking to one of these individuals one time out on the golf course, and they told me this. They were like, look, Jalen Milroe, it's been brought up in the coach's room, in the coach's office about Jalen Milroe trying to figure out where we could, and this was last season, trying to figure out where they could put him on the defensive side of the football. Promise you. Comes from a A+ source. Talking about Jalen Milroe somehow trying to get him on the defensive side of the football, just feeling that he's that big, that great of an athlete. That was something that took place last year. So, look, the way he ran against Mercer looked like one of the best running backs. And I'm not just saying he's a running quarterback. I think I'm going to wait until I see more progression in the springtime from Jalen Milroe when we look to the quarterback position. That's just a nugget that I wanted to share with you. We'll take our last caller. It's a 251. We'll take that right now. Hi, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who are you on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle. Jesse here from Dolphin Island, Alabama.
Oh man, I wish I was down in Dolphin Island this morning. Appreciate you calling in. Your initial take on Bill O'Brien going to the Patriots, and who would you like to see Nick Saban target?
Well, just to go ahead and tackle both coordinator spots, just kind of your take on it. What would you think about old Dan Mullen at offensive coordinator? And this is a little curveball. What about Mr. Ed Reed from Bethune-Cookman? You know, he's a big time defensive safety. So I was just wondering what you thought about them maybe giving him a shot at a defensive coordinator.
Oh, geez. I don't know what kind of direction Saban is going to go with the defense, but I think going forward on the defensive side, I think Coach Saban is probably going to have more control on the defense. And I think, whoever brings in is kind of almost be like an intern to Saban because I think the defense is something that Alabama's, people have been really critical of Alabama's defense. I think that, quite frankly, has been pissing Coach Saban off for quite some time. Coach Saban works directly with the defensive backs. I don't think a lot of people know that. So whoever, like the defensive backs coach is always the intern to Coach Saban. In terms of offense, look, Dan Mullen, I know a lot of people have been calling for him. I know a lot of people are kind of like 50-50 on him. Look, I kind of like when I think of Dan Mullen, I think of him in the Darth Vader mask after that press conference. And it's just like, I don't know, that stands out. I mean, that was some strange stuff that just happened. But you kind of look to the evolution of that Florida offense. He did some stuff that was impressive. I don't know how that personality is going to blend with Coach Saban. Usually Saban likes guys who are under that coaching tree. So I think when you look to potential offensive coordinators, Saban probably has a guy that is probably formerly coached for Saban at some point. But, I don't know. We're kind of just kicking out names right here. Is there any kind of dream name that you would like to see Coach Saban go after?
Dream name? I mean, a fella can dream, can he? I mean, as far as the offensive side of the ball, the only real name that comes to my mind is honestly Dan Mullen, as far as reputable. I mean, besides Cliff Kingsbury, but who knows what he's got going on. So
right. Like he's never. You're in Dolphin Island and he's in some island down in Thailand. Like I don't know if he's really coming back anytime soon.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, man, hopefully it's not as cold as it is down here for me as it is for him. So
yeah. All right, buddy. Well, we appreciate you calling in this morning, Jesse from Dolphin Island. Next time we have a call-in show, please call in. Love to get some dialogue for you. And, we hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday. And please call again next time.
Sure thing, man. Love the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Okay, fam. Well, we appreciate you guys calling in. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Insider. Definitely hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. We appreciate you guys calling into the show today regarding Bill O'Brien taking the offensive coordinator with the New England Patriots. Who will Coach Saban go after next? What is realistic in terms of the offensive coordinator position? And who do you think that Nick Saban is going to go after for the DC spot? It's going to be really interesting to see what Coach Saban does over these next couple weeks. Do you think it's going to happen fast? I guess we'll have to see, but we'll be on next time live. If you like more live shows, if you want to get more call-in shows, let us know inside the comment box. We appreciate you guys coming in. I love coming on, to be honest, to talk with you guys, talk football. So, really appreciate you guys' support. A thumbs up would go a long way on our channel, and definitely hit the subscribe button. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Stay blessed. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com.